What is your preferred personal unit of time? You see, when we talk about time, we could say something happened a year ago, 10 years ago, 100 years ago, a century ago. We were colonized by colonial powers. So time can be talked of using various units. But as a person, as an individual, what is your preferred unit of time? In other words, when you have a task to accomplish, a project to implement, what time scale do you preferentially use? You have some homework at school, you need to go and do your hustle, go to the market and buy your wares, you're a small trader, you need to go to work in the morning. What unit of time do you use? Do you say, I would like to go to work in the next 1 hour? I would like to accomplish my homework in the next 30 minutes. This is important because the time unit you prefer to use most of the time will determine your overall success in life. People who use shorter time units to frame their activities, to gauge their activities, will generally achieve more than people who use longer time units. And psychologists will tell us this has also a bearing on your personality. If you are someone who has a high level of anxiety, for example, someone who is a go-getter, in other words, someone who is ambitious, in other words, as opposed to someone who is more laid back, someone who procrastinates, delays action, is not sure about themselves until all the signs are there, someone who comes in the first or the last in any event, it means this person's or these people's time units differ. Some, their de facto default time unit is minutes. So whenever they conceive of something, they want it done within minutes. If not minutes, hours, days. It has to be done once the decision has been made. So you would say those are the go-getters. Those are the first through the door. Then with those who want to watch and wait, delay action, wait and see, procrastinate. So their time units would start from months, perhaps years, decades. You need, as an individual, to examine yourself, to analyze yourself and see where you fall in this scale, and see if you're comfortable to stay where you are or you need to change. Granted, different activities will require different time scales, but generally, if you are someone who is on the longer time scale, who takes longer to implement projects because your world, your things move slowly, then even tasks that require a short time period to implement will generally take you longer. And so in this analysis, then you can from day to day see, am I using the right scale of time or do I need to adjust? Because time is an interesting thing in our lives. It's one of the things that we cannot adjust, we cannot take back. It's totally out of our control once it is gone. And so when you lose it, you've lost it. If you have to succeed, therefore, you have to anticipate time, plan for it, and use it well before it is gone and you can do nothing about it. That's why this question of self-determination of the units of time you prefer is an important personal question in your own personal development planning. And just as a parting shot, Dr. BMS likes talking about things that interfere with the health of your body, mind, and soul. Drugs of addiction are one such thing that interfere with the perception, the management of time. Many of the drugs of addiction, perhaps all of them, have this tendency to slow down our perception of time so that what in reality is an hour will seem to be like just a few minutes. So when you go to the club to drink with your friends and you have a project waiting to be accomplished at work, at home, you may tell yourself, I'll just take a drink for 1 hour with my friends. But in reality, you will take longer in the club, longer than 1 hour, when in fact, in your mind, it was just a short time. Cannabis is notorious for this, for example, and talking to young people who research now is showing they are taking up cannabis more than any other drug, you need to be aware that it is a drug of addiction that, among other things, will damage your perception of time and your ability to manage time-regulated assignments like school, because most young people are in school, or just starting in your career. And so as you analyze yourself to know which units of time you prefer, beware that you are not at the same time taking up habits like abusing drugs of addiction, which will aggravate the mismanagement of time by distorting your perception of time and making you take up the longer scales of time, days, months, decades, to achieve what you would otherwise have achieved within hours, weeks, if you were sober. Thank you.